Hey, it's Barça here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Gerard Pique, Barcelona's legendary centre-back who has now announced he will quit playing football for once and for all. The last couple of years there's been a lot of controversy around him, and today he hasn't got the level anymore to perform at the very biggest stage. But we shouldn't forget how good he once was and how legendary he actually is for Barcelona. Make sure to stay tuned as you look at what made him so special during his Barça career. First of all, we've got to look at his abilities as a player. For a centre-back, he was very versatile. He basically had everything that you want your centre-back to have. His game-reading ability was second to none, and he would rarely misjudge a dangerous situation. Also, his tackling and interceptions have always been world-class. Any dangerous ball didn't easily get past him, and attackers have often had a difficult time getting past Piqué. That's not to say he was never drilled past, of course, but generally no attacker liked to face him. His most known quality though maybe is that he was prolific with the ball on his feet. As a Barça defender, this is of course an important quality to have, which is why Piqué was basically the perfect defender for the Blaugrana and didn't fail to perform in any of Barcelona's super teams. When playing the ball out from the back, he was the type of defender who always made the right decision, who played accurate balls and who never lost the ball in a sloppy way. And typically he would always drive forward with the ball if there was enough room to do so. Something that he's done under Guardiola, Luis Enrique, Ernesto Valverde, and has always been a good way of opening up the opponent's organization. So on the ball he sure was one of a kind as a defender. And lastly, he was a threat on corner kicks too. There are quite a lot of goals that he scored with his head, and the first goal that comes to your mind when thinking about him is probably a header, if we don't include his goal in Barca's famous 2-6 victory in El Clásico. So overall, Gerard Pique was a really complete defender. His only weak point maybe was his pace. Apart from that, he was basically the perfect defender, especially for Barcelona. But where does he then rank amongst the best defenders of his generation? Giorgio Chiellini, Virgil van Dijk, Thiago Silva, Leonardo Bonucci, Vincent Kompany, they're all great defenders, but none of them was as good as prime Gerard Pique in my opinion. Piqué is the best of them all when it comes to passing and being comfortable on the ball, but even defending wise I wouldn't say that any of those defenders is better than Gerard Piqué. Piqué is maybe the best defender of his generation. For me it's either him or Sergio Ramos. It's difficult to pick one of those two because Ramos has always been good with the ball on his feet too, has been more of a goal scoring threat and has maybe been more consistent too. Piqué on the other hand has had less red cards in his career and is equally good as him in almost all aspects of the game. Ramos maybe gets the edge, but it's a very close one. The point is that Piqué is easily the best or second best defender of his generation, and I think a lot of people don't rate him that highly anymore today. If you look back at his prime years though, it's definitely fair to give him that kind of credit. But Gerard Piqué was more than a world-class defender. He had his very own character, his own opinion on everything, and he's a businessman, so he was far from your average player. His businesses outside of football have often been quite controversial, and people have often criticized him for not fully focusing on football during the last years especially, which is maybe fair. As a Barcelona player, you maybe shouldn't run multiple big businesses at the same time. Apart from that though, his identity and character off the pitch just made him more special. He's always been the funny one in the dressing room, he's always laughed a lot, and he's always been protective of his teammates like Messi. Apart from that, he also embodies the Catalan identity and he won't hesitate to tell you that he's proud to be a Catalan. One of the main reasons he quit playing for Spain some years ago was probably the fact that he didn't fully resonate with the Spanish identity, because he felt more like a Catalan. And given the Catalan identity that Barcelona have always had as a club, is just another reason why Piqué fitted so well at Barça. So altogether, Gerard Piqué is easily one of the greatest defenders in history, one of the most complete defenders in history too, and a defender that perfectly fitted at FC Barcelona. There has maybe never been a player more Blaugrana than him. And though there's been quite some controversy around him and though he might have been a burden for our squad the last couple of years sometimes, I think it's fair to say that he's one of Barcelona's most legendary players of all time. That was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion on Gerard Piqué in the comments down below. Força Barça and have a good day.